Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Unbreakable Life with Glory, the podcast where we talk about depression, anxiety, PTSD, in natural way and a holistic way to always make you feel better. And this is Gloria Goldberg, here your co-host and host of this beautiful podcast. So, how everybody? Night today is Wednesday, a beautiful Wednesday, a beautiful day. I know today we have some issues here in the United States, but I don't want to talk about it. But I feel so sorry for what happens today. And because we talk about depression, anxiety, PTSD, let's not talk about things that are gonna make you feel a little bit uncomfortable. So today I have a very special guest. We're going to talk about a little bit about depression in a different way. Like this morning. This morning, we talk about depression and we talk about how, if we see depression not a problem, how we see a depression that's something that's going to help us to move on in life and see it in a different way. So today, we're going to talk about that this way, like the way, like not like a mental illness, not like it's a problem. We're not gonna talk about depression in a way that this gonna make you feel bad or it's gonna make you feel unhappy. So today, my guest, I'm gonna bring her in a little bit quicker today because we have a lot of things to talk, and I want to ask him a lot of questions about it. His name is Jeff Wright, and he's an entrepreneur, and he helped a lot of people to achieve their goals and dreams in missions in life. So I'm gonna bring him in and give him the welcome to Unbreakable Life with Glory. And let's see what he's gonna bring us today, talking about depression. And if he felt depression in some way, what happens to him that he be able to talk about it, how he overcomes stuff. And I like him a lot because he's a little bit controversial, and he also raw, and he also like to say to you things in your face. And a lot of people don't like to hear that, but you know what, sometimes we need to hear things in our faces to be able to wake up and be different, and wake up from when we are sleeping, or to wake up from the moment that we feel down. And sometimes we need that injection for somebody and say, hey, relax, you already dying. The same thing that happens to him when he was in the hospital. But he have a story from that, so let's welcome in and let's ask him about that story. And let's welcome Jeff Wright. Hello, how are you? I can hear you. I don't hear you. No. Let's see. Let me check out here my audio. Everything is can no, I don't hear you. I don't hear you. What happened?
Okay, what about now? The sound's not going to be as good because I changed off the mic.
I hear you now. Do you hear me?
I don't know. I don't know what happened, but anyway, thank you for having me on. Thank you for
Thank you.
having me on.
Thank you to be in Unbreakable Life with Glory. The podcast is an honor to have you because I've been following you for more than a year, and I love the way you see life. I love the way you're so raw and direct with people. And sometimes people don't like that. But you know what? I think it's necessary sometimes to hear things like the way you say things. So before we start in that conversation, I want you to tell everybody who's Jeff Wright.
Well, I'm an entrepreneur and a podcaster, and a success coach. I teach a lot of sales techniques. I have about 25,000 people that work with me, and so I hear problems every day. Sales problems to husband problems to wife problems to legal problems, kids problems. Um, a lot of people have problems out there, Gloria, and though it's something that I didn't really want to do or didn't plan on doing, but I ended up having to give a lot of advice to a lot of people over a lot of things. And so, I'm not a therapist. I'm not a doctor. I'm not any of that. So all I can do is just impart experiences that I've had and share some life experiences that I've gone through to maybe help someone who has a problem of being depressed or having anxiety. So again, thank you for having me on.
Thank you, Jeff. Gracias. I was gonna say, I mean, Jeff, I have a question for you. We know you told me, and we know you're a very successful man. That you hear a lot of problems for different people. Let's talk about Jeff. How Jeff become successful, and how Jeff overcome. If you in your entire life do you feel depression or you feel anxiety? Can you tell a little bit about that and how you overcome that?
The first thing I did, Gloria, was that I stopped giving a damn about what other people thought. I stopped caring about their opinions. They're it's so sad. There's so many people that go through life that they don't live their dreams. They don't act on their on what they want to do. They don't follow the ambitions that they have because they're worried about what someone else is going to think. And most of the people that they're worried about are thinking something about them. These people aren't thinking about them in the first place. So never. So it took me a long time to get over the fact that the people that I was wanting to look good for, the people that I was living the life that I thought that they wanted me to live. At the end of the day, it's me living my life, no one else. No more than I'm living a life for them. So I stopped caring about what other people thought about me or what I should do or what I should say. That was the biggest thing.
So what was the motivation for you to say, I'm done, I don't care what about people is doing? Because a lot of people want to do that, but they don't know how to do it. So what was the moment for you to say, I'm done?
Well, the moment was many, many, many years ago. I had followed the direction of people that I knew wasn't the right direction for me to go, but I went in anyway. And quite honestly, I almost lost everything I had. I almost lost all my money. Almost lost my business. Came close to losing my home, wife, everything. And when I went to these people for help, they weren't there.
Of course.
They weren't there. They're like, "Oh, tough shit, work it out." And I realized right then and there that I was down in this hole and no one was going to pull me out of the hole but me. No one was. And some of these problems involve money. So I went to my father and who had the money to help me. And I told him about all these problems that I was facing. And he was very understanding. He says, "Well, yeah, I can see how that would happen. You're in a bad spot." He says, "I'm going to help you." And I said, "Well, oh my God, thank you for helping me." He says, "Don't thank me yet." He says, "You know how I'm going to help you?" I said, "No." "You know what I'm going to do?" I said, "No." He says, "I'm not going to do a fucking thing."
Oh,
He
this
says,
is exactly what my father did to
"You were big
me.
enough. You were big enough to get in this shit. You're big enough to get out." And that was the biggest help that he gave me, because there was no one to blame for me. I couldn't blame anybody for any of these things that I had. All because at the end of the day, I knew in here that something wasn't right, but I was following the opinions of other people, wanting them to like me, wanting them to love me, and and keeping up all these optics of being something that I really wasn't. And when I needed them, none of these son of a bitches were there. None of them. They weren't there. They didn't give a shit. So I had to do it myself.
Wow. That happens to me too. When I remember when I want to come to this country, and I said to my father, I want to come, and said, okay, go. And I said, you're not gonna help me? And he said, no. And I said, okay, fine. He said, go whatever you have. Okay. So he never helped me. And I'm thankful for him he did that, because that make me, he gave me a big foundation. I said, okay, I'm going to work my ass off and do what I need to do to be able to succeed. And thank God for him that he did that to me.
And
He
yeah,
pushed me. He pushed me away. Go.
yeah.
And he laughed.
And so I dug myself out of the hole. And it's amazing, how much you can do if you just focus yourself on getting it done. And so several years later, I had developed an illness. I had a very, very, very bad case of pneumonia, and I thought I was going to die. I was in the hospital for 4 months with it.
Wow.
And this doctor had me laying down, and he was pushing these needles like this between my ribs, putting in chest tubes. The fluid coming off the lungs was as black as this. It was the grossest thing ever, and it was the most painful thing that I've ever endured. I haven't suffered anything since then as painful as that. And I'm yelling and I'm screaming, and I thought I was going to die. They thought I was going to die. And the guy looks at me because I almost hit him. I jumped up off the table and I swung at him.
Right.
And he grabbed my hand and he says, "Fucking relax. You're already dead."
Oh my God.
Oh, you're already dead. So the next day, I don't remember what happened after that. It was so painful I passed out, but I remembered it. The next day he comes into my room, and I asked him, "Why did you tell me that?" He says, "Every day of your life is a gift. Every day that you wake up, you've won the lottery, because there are millions of people that can't do that. Millions. You need to live every day as if it is your last day. You need to stop worrying about all the crazy shit that you're worried about, all the plans for the future and whatnot, things that, problems that you have that you can't solve right now. You need to live today." And when he told me that, it was my big aha moment. That's when it hit me that I have to live for today. And I would really like for you and anyone listening to try this, because that happened 30 something years ago. I still do it now. Is every morning when I'm out walking my dog, I'll be in the park and I'll just say to myself, "Relax, you're already dead." And when you do that, it's like this whole anything that you're worried about just goes away. The air smells better. You can hear birds. Everything that you perceive is just better, because you realize that today could be your last day. And not only that, but if you think about it, um, when you were a kid in school, and you remember your last day of school before you got out for the break.
Yes.
All right, that was a great day, wasn't it? Because you could do no wrong. You could do anything, say anything. You could get in a little trouble. It didn't matter, because the next day you're out. The next
Yeah.
day you don't. There's no coming back until later on. So I started living my life every day like it was my last day of school. Lots of things that I used to worry about, I don't worry about anymore, because I realize that whatever problems I have to deal with today, I deal with them today. If it's something that I have to deal with later, I just wait until that time comes, simply because I may not be here to solve them.
Is very true.
Yeah.
So in the moment that you was going through that illness, 4 months in the hospital, right?
Yes.
Do you in that before the doctor say that to you, do you feel depression? Do you have anxiety? What was your disposition when you going through that?
Did I have anxiety while I was going through it?
Yeah.
I did up until he told me that. And I realized to myself that I may not come out of here. So I started picking up my phone. I started calling people to apologize to them if I had ever upset them. I called people to tell them that I loved them. I reached out to people like it was my last day. And I just kept doing that, kept doing that. I had a friend of mine that I apologized to like 5 times, and one day he calls me up and say, "Hey, quit fucking apologizing to me. You've already done it 5 times. I forgive you. I forget it. I get it. I forgive you. Just stop." And but the biggest thing that you have to do, I think anyone has to do, is you have to forgive yourself. You have to forgive yourself, because if you don't forgive yourself, you're just carrying around a lot of baggage. You're carrying around a lot of guilt. You can't you can't change the past. You can't live in the past. You're carrying this around. So that guilt is like carrying around a bag of rocks. All you have to do is let it go and walk away from it. That's really all you have to do. And you have to realize too how lucky you are, how blessed that you are. So it's like a 1 in 8 billion chance that you would win the lottery.
Right.
For people buy tickets. It's like a 1 in 2 million chance that you could be a victim of a plane crash, but people still buy tickets. There's a 1 in 2,000 chance that you'll be in a car crash, but people still get in the car. But it's a 1 in 4 trillion chance that you were even born. So to think that you have beat these odds that are so big, no human mind can even fathom how big those odds are that you defied to even be here, for me to be sitting here talking to you. What do you happen to be depressed about? You're the luckiest person on earth just to be here, just to be alive every day. And one of the things that I do is when I wake up in the morning, when I open my eyes, the first thing that I say to myself is, congratulations, you get to live another day. I get to play in this playground one more day. And the way that the way that you set your day up is the way that it goes. The way that you set up is the way your day will end up. So if you wake up in the morning and the first thing you do is grab your phone and start reading all this crazy shit that's going on and
Right.
whatnot, it sets your intention bad the entire day. But I wake up every morning grateful. I wake up every morning happy. Um, and I have to, because if I don't, if I start thinking about all this crazy stuff that's going on in the world, it just ruins what would be a beautiful day. And I don't want my last day to be fucked up. I want my last day to be beautiful.
Yes, that's the way we should see life. But a lot of people cannot do it. And a lot of people, they try. And I know you receive a lot of things like this, like people telling you what to do, right?
Right.
So what exactly you tell people sometimes when they come to you and bitch about things?
Well, A lot of times it's involving someone else. And I tell them, you need to forgive them. They can't undo what they've done, no more than you can go back and correct what they've done. All you can do is forgive them and learn from the mistakes that they've made or you've made, so it doesn't happen again. It's really, I mean, there's really no other thing you can do.
Right.
And you have to forgive the assholes in your life.
That's the masters.
You have to forgive them.
Yes.
Okay. And forgiving the assholes is the most powerful fucking thing you can do.
Yes.
Because what it's saying to them is that they no longer have the right to occupy any real estate inside your head. They're dead to you. They don't mean anything to you. Their opinion doesn't mean. You don't think about them. They're nothing. They're just a piece of lint that you take off your shirt and throw away. You never think about them again. But how you do that, though, especially, and you can do this with people that have already died, because a lot of people are still haunted by people that have been dead for 30 years. These dead people are still living in their head because they're still pissed off about what they may have done to them. They're still
Yes.
pissed off about it.
Yes.
But you being pissed off with somebody, especially if they're dead, if you carry around all this anger, you carry around all this hatred, it's the same thing as you eating rat poison, hoping that they're going to die. It's the same thing. It's not going to happen.
And they're already dead.
They're already dead. And the people that are alive, the people that have wronged you, that all that hate and anger is going in, they're living about their daily lives. They're not even thinking about you.
No.
They don't care. They don't give a shit about you. They're not thinking about you at all. And the worst thing you can do is reach out to them. A lot of times people, somebody will get divorced,
Right.
and they'll start texting their ex-wife or their ex-husband, and they keep this dialogue going, and all it does, it just makes things worse. When you're done, you're done.
Done.
You're done.
Done.
You're done. I got a friend of mine that's going through a divorce right now, and he keeps telling me about all these crazy texts that his ex-wife sends him, or soon-to-be ex-wife sends him. I said, don't respond.
No.
Because that's what she wants you to do. She wants you to keep your toe in the water. Every time you respond, because there's not going to be a good answer. There's not going to be, you're not going to be right about anything. You're not going to get her back. So the more you engage her, the more she's going to engage back, just to fuck with you. And that goes for men too. You're both guilty about doing the same thing. So if you've forgiven somebody, and it's somebody that you don't want to have a relationship with anymore, and you want to forget about them, don't. Just don't. Every time that you think, now it's a practice, it's not perfection.
No.
But for me, if I think about somebody who really wronged me, and I have those people in my life, just like you do, just like everyone else does. Okay. But when that happens, I stop for a second, and I realize, and I'll ask myself, is thinking about this person going to help my wealth? Is it going to help my relationship? Is it going to help my business? Is it going to help my family? No. Is worrying about this going to make it worse? Yes. Do I want to make it worse? No. Fucking forget about it and move on. And sometimes, and I've even done this, and I know this sounds crazy, but if you set your intention to get rid of someone, you think about that person, and you just grab, pull it out, throw them away.
Like this.
Throw them away. Yeah. I've done that a lot. That's why I don't have much hair back here. I had a lot of assholes to pull out and throw away. But that's what you have to do. You have to learn to let them go. You have to learn to not only not let them live here, you have to evict their asses like they've never paid rent. You evict them and you get rid of them. And that's what works for me. Is it easy to do? No,
No.
no. But it's just like riding a bicycle or playing a piano or doing anything. The more you practice, the better it becomes. You're still going to make mistakes, but the less mistakes you're going to make, the more you practice. You can't just sit there and do it one time and go, okay, that's over and done with. It's a lifelong process. You have to do it for the rest of your life. Whenever these thoughts come up.
And a lot of people, going back to the relationship, a lot of people linger a lot when they are going through separation and divorce. And I know it's a process, but if you are really 100% that you want to get divorced at that person, you have to do that. You have to make it like, okay, it's done, it's out, but not like the texts and the manipulation. And because when you are in the process of divorce, the men or the women think that they still have leverage because they still marry, and it's like a game that a lot of people do with other people.
Yeah. You know, you can't you can't fight someone if you're not fighting back. You can't have an argument if you're not arguing. So, and that's the other key really, is to take all these toxic pricks out of your life. Is to, you have people will go through a detox of their body. I do it every now and then. Drink spinach juice for a week, and
Right.
whatever. You have to have a friends and family detox too. And yeah,
Oh, yes.
family very important.
Yes.
You have to get rid of. You have to lose family. You do,
Yes.
if they're bringing you down. And the way that you can't go out and kill your family, but like I have family members that know that I don't participate in gossip. I don't participate in drama. I don't participate in any kind of negative toxicity at all. I can't afford to. It's not that I don't want to, but I don't. But more importantly, I can't afford to do it, because if I participate in it, I start going downhill. It costs me something. And so whenever someone, if my sister calls me and tells me, wants to tell me something that I know is going to be negative, I'll just say, hey, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear it, because that doesn't help me provide for me, doesn't help me provide for our mother. It doesn't help me do any of that. And the more that you let them know, the more that boundary is going to get set. And the less that you'll have to contend with. It's just like, I'll get a phone call and someone will say, hey, don't tell Gloria I said this, and I'll say, wait a minute, don't tell me.
Exactly.
Yeah, but you're going to think this is funny. I probably will think it's funny, but I have too much shit going on in my life to keep a mental inventory of who to tell and who not to tell. I can't do that. I can't keep an inventory like that. I'm not smart enough to do that. I don't know anyone that is. So just don't tell me. Now, if it's something that I can say, then tell me. But if I can't say it, then I just don't want to know, because I also don't want things to get back to Gloria and you think that it's me and it wasn't, and then that fucks up our friendship. I don't want that either. So just don't tell me.
Exactly. And also I think when people it's kind of gossip, because if you are talking behind someone about anything and then they tell you but don't say anything, that's gossip. This maybe half right, half true, and half false that what they saying about that person. And I'm like you, I don't engage in any gossip in any kind of
No.
conversation. And when I see somebody complaining about other people or judging, I just step out and I say, you know what, this is not what I want to hear. That's not what I'm here for. And when you say, when somebody told me, like you said, oh, I'm going to tell you this about this person, but don't say anything, I can guarantee you some of the stuff that the person is going to tell me is not true.
You want to know the other thing too, Gloria? Is when you're not there, they're saying the same shit about you.
Exactly.
They're saying the same shit about you.
Exactly.
So why? You are the sum of the people that you're with. If you're hanging around a bunch of losers, you're probably going to be a loser yourself.
Of course.
If you're and the thing is like, misery loves company. There's so many people out there, especially today, they're not happy unless they're miserable, and they're not really having a good time until they're fucking making you miserable. Do you really want these people in your life? Do you really want them? Fuck them. Be done with them. You don't want them because they're not helping you grow. All they're doing is making you worse. And that goes back to the forgiveness thing too, because the more that you carry the anger around, the more you carry the anxiety around and whatnot, it doesn't solve anything. It only makes it worse. It only makes it worse. It's anything that's negative, anything that's dark is not from God.
No.
Nothing.
Nada.
Zero. So if I think that, I will wonder, is this right or wrong? But it's a pretty easy test. If it's dark, if it makes me angry, then it's something that I need to forgive myself for and ask forgiveness for even thinking this shit and move on. You just it's actually pretty easy to do. And the other thing too is a lot of people, even very successful people, you hear about these Hollywood actors who have, they've made all the money, they've done all this stuff, they have every toy, they have all the houses, and they end up killing themselves.
Right.
Okay. I really believe that the reason why they're unhappy is because they are living a life of success by someone else's definition, not theirs. A lot of these people never had an opportunity to define what success was. They want to live the life for the people as defined by them, to do this, to do that, to follow this path, when in fact they never wanted that to begin with. And I think that's got a lot to do with a lot of depression going on, is that you're living a life that someone else chose for you. You're not living the life that you want. You have to be truly successful, you have to know what that looks like to you.
Exactly.
And that's different for everyone. Because if I was sitting in Miami at the airport and I wanted to fly to New York, I would get on a plane going to New York. I wouldn't just get on a plane hoping the pilot was going to drop me off there.
Exactly.
You know where the plane's going. And defining your success is the same thing. And once you clearly define what that goal is and clearly define what success looks like to you, then it's a hell of a lot easier to get there. But you just have to take the time to define what it is. And a lot of people don't do that. one time I was worried about a lot of things. And so I took a legal pad and I wrote down everything that I was concerned about. The next day, I went back through that list and I took a pen and I struck through all the things that either had nothing to do with me or nothing that I could control, that I had no control over. And over 90% of that list went away. 90%. I took the remaining few items that I did have some control over, and the remaining items that did have something to do with me, I worked on them. My life got a shit ton better and a hell of a lot easier. Just working on the thing. And and I'll give you another good phrase to use too. If someone's telling you gossip or wants to tell you some gossip, just ask them, does this have anything to do with me? No. Just say, I live by a really simple rule. If it doesn't affect me or have anything to do with me, I don't give a shit and I don't want to hear it. That's all you got to do. And they go, what? No, it doesn't have anything to do with me. I don't give a shit. I don't care.
Exactly. Like people don't care about you either. Like people don't care. People don't care. People don't care.
Yeah.
So
Stop caring what other people think and stop thinking that they care. They don't.
they don't.
No.
So what would be the message for the people today that are going through a lot of emotional issue, and on top of that they're watching TV, on top of that they're seeing all what's happening right now in the world, and they are putting that on top of the emotional issue they have? What would be your recommendation for those people to do?
Turn the TV off.
Yes.
So just like you are what you eat. If you go eat tacos and hamburgers every day, you're going to feel like shit because it's unhealthy. If you're intaking all this negative content, if you're intaking the news, you're reading about politics, you're participating in all this mad bullshit on social media, you're dealing with toxic friends, you feel bad because you're supposed to.
Right.
Yeah, and there's a lot of money in you feeling bad.
Of
There's
course,
a
that's the
lot of money.
business.
Good news doesn't sell. Everybody's
Mhm.
attracted to bad things. Everyone's attracted to controversial things. That brings a lot of people depression that they necessarily don't need to have. And how do they cure that these days? With little pills that cost a lot of money. And it's destroying people's lives. It's destroying their health. It's destroying their relationships. It's destroying everything. So the best thing, the most immediate thing I think anyone could do is, just like if you wanted to lose weight, put yourself on a diet of only eating clean food. Put yourself on a content diet of only taking in good, positive information, because all of the news that you hear about, most of it has nothing to do with you, and there is not one damn thing you can do about any of it. Nothing. You can't do
Nada.
anything about any of it. So why are you letting them? It's a very, the media is a very powerful thing, and and I am not strong enough to withstand the power that negativity has. It's so easy just to drop into that black hole just by sitting there and watching television. It's so easy. So the first thing I would do would be put yourself on a content diet. Only intake good stuff, positive stuff, because it's out there. Of every one bad thing that's happening in the world, there's 100 good things about them. You just don't fucking hear about them. You got to look for them. Okay?
You need to vibrate in that so you attract more information.
Exactly. And the other thing you need to do is just be grateful. Be grateful for breathing air. Be grateful for the people that you're with. Be grateful for your problems, because only by solving problems or going through problems is the only way that you get smarter and get stronger, is working through these problems. Don't run away from problems. Take care of these problems head on as fast as you can, because that's what's going to make you stronger, faster, better. You'll be like the $6 million man.
Wow, this is true. So let's talk about your podcast. What is the name of the name of your podcast so people can know about your podcast and what you talk about in your podcast?
Our podcast is called Blame to Fame.
Blame to Fame?
Blame to Fame.
And
Because,
what is it about?
well, basically what we talk about is how you take all the blame that you may have into your life and take that blame and burn it as rocket fuel to take you to the level of success that you need to be. Is to take that blame, because if America, I mean, if the Olympics had blame as a sport, America would win the gold medal every year. Everyone's blaming, but blaming doesn't solve anything. So we talk about that. We talk about sales. We talk about business. We talk about life. Generally, it can be about anything, because but it all has a central theme of 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 starting out on the bottom, or having yourself in a hole. Instead of blaming others, look within yourself and dig out of that hole back into the light, is what it's about.
Wow. And what about the coaching? What exactly do you do? How you help people to achieve the success?
We do coaching on the first thing that we do in our coaching is we talk about, we deal with the individual forgiveness, taking that bag of rocks and letting it go. We deal with all this stuff to make people actually like themselves, to
Right.
make themselves confident, because a lot of salespeople will say to me, well, uh, I had a hard time selling them. I didn't get their confidence. I'm like, well, why would they have confidence in you when you don't even have confidence in you? And
Hmm.
the way that you get confidence in yourself is to start racking up wins every day. It's taking, imagine, Gloria, what your life would look like, what your bank account would look like, what your health would look like if you only didn't let yourself down for
Hmm.
30, 60, 90 days. If you just didn't let yourself down, you promise yourself that you're going to do these things, and no matter what, you're not going to lie to yourself. If you talk negatively, anytime you let yourself down, or anytime that you speak negatively about yourself, even if it's joking, somewhere up here recognizes that, and it drops your confidence down just a little bit lower.
Yeah,
So
because your conscious don't recognize if it's a joke or it's not a joke.
no, absolutely not. So we talk about that. We talk about we coach on that, and then on sales techniques, negotiation techniques. Um, there's a lot to it. There's really a lot to it. A lot of the sales stuff that we talk about is very unorthodox from what most people do, because most people in any kind of sales, they go in and they start telling you what they have. We don't do that. We ask you what your needs are. We want to find out what those needs are, and why those needs are important to you, to see if we can actually solve the problem that you have.
Yeah, because when a salesperson comes to you and they want to throw you everything through your throw, like this is good for you, this is good for you, this is good for you, you don't have no space to to think about it. And first of all, you like somebody to listen to you.
Yeah.
What exactly is going on with you? So maybe you're gonna help. Maybe you can help me in some way. But when they come in and just strike you and they want to sell you everything, and you don't even have the time, not even to think about it. I don't think that not everybody likes it. That's why a lot of people run away from salespeople.
Yeah. Everybody wants to be listened to, and they want
Right.
to be understood, and most people don't do that. It's very simple. A lot of people think that, a lot of people in sales think that people have to like you. That's not true. They have to trust you, or they have to trust that you're going to solve whatever problem it is that you have. Now, liking someone doesn't mean that I trust them. I have a lot of people that I like. I wouldn't trust them with anything, but I like them.
Exactly. Yes.
And conversely, there are people that on a personal level, I don't like them at all, but I trust what they do. So it's about becoming not a friend, not likable, but to become a trusted authority on what it is that you're doing. Because if you become a trusted authority, what you're doing, then you're going to be helping more people, and at the end of the day, the more people you help, the more income, the more money you're going to make.
So to gain the authority or the trust, how you teach people to do that? Like what is the strategy for people to gain that?
Okay, so I was talking to a guy not long ago that owns a car dealership, and when you go on the car dealer, when you walk on a car lot, and a salesman walks up to you, what do you say to him?
I'm just looking.
Just looking. Okay.
Like I don't come yet. I'm just looking.
All right. So what I would do, I would walk up to you and I would say, "Hi, are you just looking?" Yeah, we're just looking. If you don't mind me asking, what is it that you're looking for? So I've taken that objection away of, "I'm just looking, get the fuck away from me." That
Right,
and
right.
like, I want to, is there anything in particular that you're looking for? Just
Yeah, when somebody talk to me like that, it give me the confidence that like, okay, yes, it opens a conversation right there.
exactly, exactly. And then I would say to him, then I was saying to him, so if the guy is looking at a Corvette, and if you just say to him, "Oh yeah, the Corvette, it's going to help you pick up women, and it's going to go really fast. It's going to do this. It's going to do that." You just tell him you don't find out what the needs are. I said, but ask him, who is this car for? Oh, it's for my 16-year-old daughter. Oh, well, if it's for your daughter, you'd be pleased to know it has these safety standards. It has this, it has that. But you can't go in just assuming that people want the same thing. You can't make the assumptions that people are always going to see things the same way that you do. The only way you're going to know is to ask. Most people don't ask. And we have very specific ways to ask people. You always want to do things that are going to disarm them, things that are going to bring the temperature down in the conversation. Because there's a reason why a lot of people don't like salespeople, because they're pushy bastards.
And they hate to go to the car dealers. I'm one. I kind of hate that because they want to. I know they need the sale, but you get annoying. You get annoying when you go because you need to like the peace and you need the time to see what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And and the thing is, most of the car salesmen that are selling you cars, they can't afford the car that they're selling you. So
Yes, that's true too.
never been in that business. I couldn't imagine being in it. But it's like my wife. My wife's a doctor. She has a med spa, and she was going through a lot of people would come in there, and she had these really fancy price lists that were printed up. They were expensive, and people just get the price list and just walk out, never see them again. So what we got the staff to do is when they come in, they'd say, "Oh, are you looking for a price list?" Yeah. Well, yeah, let me get you one, but let me give you a little tour around. And they show them around the clinic, and what are you, what makes you come in today? What is it that you had in mind? What is it that you're looking for? That sort of thing. And then if they ask something, we just had one price list in a frame sitting on the wall, and they just look at it, and we start getting business out of that, and we quit giving the price list out because it just took away money from the bottom line. But it was just asking them what they wanted, why it's important to them, and when you do that, it's triggering their emotions, not in a bad way. No one's trying to trick anyone, but every you don't buy anything without solving a problem. If you go to dinner, you're solving a problem because you're hungry. If
Right.
if you yeah, anything you buy is a problem to solve. But a lot of times in sales, we forget that, and we just wanna hit them with what we have, but we don't even know what the problem is. So we wanna find out what the problem is and if we could possibly help them. Because a lot of times we'll say, "I don't even know if I can even help you yet. I need to know, what's important to you about this." And so that's the sort of thing that we teach. We've taken a lot of salespeople and 5x, even 10x their income just simply by having them ask questions a different way and interacting with people a different way.
That's awesome. So we are about 52 minutes. We're gonna starting to wrap it up. Any kind of word or phrase for people that are trying to take their lives away?
The biggest thing that I would tell people is find figure out, take the time of what you want your life to look like, what you want it to look like, not anyone else, because no one else is living your life but you. No one can live it for you, no matter how hard they try. So define where you want to be. Be grateful every day to wake up. Be grateful for the problems that you have. Be grateful for the bad experiences that you've gone through. And I know you've gone through some for sure, Gloria. But
Mhm.
but to be grateful for that because that's what made you stronger. It is why you are there today. And the universe works in mysterious ways. We can't figure. No one can figure it out, and nor are we meant to figure it out. But to be grateful in knowing that there is a process there for you if you just let it be. But gratitude and forgiveness are the cornerstones of getting better business, getting better mental health, getting better anything is gratitude and forgiveness. Even forgiving the worst assholes that you ever had in your life, forgive them, rip them out of your head, throw them away, flush them down the toilet, be done,
And be free,
and
because be free.
yeah,
Because that person that you hate is also in, it's like a chain on you, because
mhm,
that person doesn't let you breathe or think or sleep the right way because you're always thinking about that person.
exactly, exactly.
All right. So thank you so much, Jeff Wright, to be in Unbreakable Life with Glory, the podcast. It's honored to have you here and your experience. And thank you so much to help a lot of people in
Thank
this world.
you, thank you for having me.
All right. I'm going to put you in the green room and I'm going to wrap the show.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Wow. Different perspective, different ideas, different ways to see life. There's a lot of truth under it. Probably a little bit sometimes a little bit tough from some people to hear, but sometimes we need to hear that. We like it or not. And just be open. And like he said, if you just forgive people that hurt you and leave it and put it to sleep and say, you know what, this person did this to me, it doesn't serve me anymore. Why I need to hold into this? How more years, how more longer I'm gonna hold into this hatred to this person? And that person probably is having a good time and having their own life, and they're even thinking that you hate them or you are mad of them. They already move on, and you still linger on them. So don't let anybody to steal your energy. Don't let anybody to steal your soul. Don't let anybody to steal your life. Your life is so valuable, and your life is just only one, and we have only one chance to be in this world, and very short time to live. So don't waste your time in people that really don't care about you. The only one who cares about you is yourself. So help with that. And like like Jeff say, forget about the bullshit and forget about the assholes, and then you're gonna be happy. All right. Thank you so much to be in Unbreakable Life with Glory, the podcast. Thank you, George, to be here today, and have a wonderful day, wonderful life. See you next Wednesday at 8 a.m. Eastern Time, Spanish version, and at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, an English version. See you next week. And remember, there's always somebody out there waiting for you to give in of a little hug, a little word, or just even the appreciation or even the silence just to be next to that person. All right. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day. Bye bye.